Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Tea Time with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 3rd of June 2019, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this Monday's afternoon session where we're gonna have a quick look at the markets. There are a few instruments that I really wanted to quickly run through. Yep, there are quite a few. So I'll try to be as quick as possible. Just wanted to show you some of the key kind of setups, interesting setups, interesting levels, and yep. But before we start looking at that, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, the first chart I wanted to quickly show you guys, and it's quite interesting. Now that's the DXY. Now, after Friday's nice good sell-off here, we saw the index kind of testing this little tentative upside support line taken from the lows of the 20th of March, and now as you can see, this morning it did try to recover some of its losses. It did, but it got held here near its pivot, which is around the 97.80 approximately there, and then reversed and pushed back down again. Now, of course, this is not looking good for DXY. The only thing is that we're not going to still rush into anything here. In order to consider this one falling off the cliff here a little bit, we need to see a nice good break initially of this upside support line, and of course ideally a nice good close at least of a 4-hour candle below this 97.55 zone around here, and only then we will consider further declines. We will aim for the 97.25 area approximately there, but the main target for us here will be the 97 level itself. So basically, guys, long story short, for us now, in order to consider further declines, yep, we would like to see a nice good close below the 97.55. This way we could then target the 97 zone. In terms of the upside, just in case this suddenly decides to reverse back up here, now one of the levels that you could keep an eye on is the 97.85. It's a bit of a tentative level here. It was violated a few times, but one of the areas that could, like I said, you could keep an eye on is this one, the 97.85. Also slightly above that, you could keep a close eye on the 98 level itself as well. So if we do, just for that better confirmation, if we do see a nice good push back above the 98 level, then yep, we could then target the 98.30, 33 zone approximately there, and then we'll take it from there, see if it actually wants to travel higher or not. But also you should probably keep an eye on this formation here, a potential kind of ascending triangle formation. So in a way, if this, like I said, this rebounds back up here but fails, let's say, to push above the 98.33 zone, then well, we may see this one kind of a little ranging here a little bit, but well, ranging with higher lows here, basically getting closer to the apex of this potential formation. So for now, keep your eyes on this and keep your eyes on the 97.55. Let's see if it actually breaks that or not. Gold. Now, very quickly on gold. So gold is having a spectacular performance, so pushing higher. It made it a nice move higher here today, managed to reach its R2, which is around the 1319 level. Just fell shy from reaching our target near the 1320, and you can see that it reversed back down, and for now we could see a bit of correction here, maybe back down towards the 1312, 1310 zone approximately there. Now, if it struggles to overcome this, then we may see something like this happening, where we could see a nice rebound and another push higher. The level that we're targeting above the 1320 is around the 1325 and the 1330, but probably the more important one will be the 1325, because that's the highest point of March basically. So for now, guys, of course, keep your eyes on this one. It's very interesting. It has some potential, still, but the only thing is that, of course, don't forget that on the shorter time frames we are slightly overbought, so a bit of correction could be possible here. The only thing is that the last resort probably for the bulls to step in would be somewhere around here near the 1303 level, just which marks this little peak here, and this could be that last opportunity for the bulls to step in again and drive this one higher. But if it starts dropping below the 1301, 1300 level, now this is where we could see this one correcting back down again, maybe further down towards the 1289 or even below that. But for now we're gonna keep it short and simple. First, this is what we're keeping a close eye on right now. If we see a small correction to the downside, initially we will aim for the 1312, 1310. But if those fail to withhold, like I said, the last resort for the bulls kind of to step in here could be around this little peak of the 13th of May, near the 1303 level. So keep your eyes on this one, guys. Silver is a very interesting spot as well. So I talked about silver this morning, and this is what I was telling you guys. We were still basically trading around here. We were below this key important resistance level near the 14.65, and what I was saying, guys, we need to see a nice good at least a close of the 4-hour candle above this 14.65 in order to kind of consider a possible move towards the 200 EMA or even further towards the 14.83 or above that. But well, I shouldn't say but it happened. We did have a nice close above this 14.65, and as you can see, it's now trying to push higher. It did push at one point. It managed to reach its R2, which is around the 14.77 zone, something like that. But as you can see, the bears are quickly managed to push this one back below its 200 EMA here on the 4-hour chart. The big question here is, of course, will it continue trading above this 14.65, or actually will we see something another drop here, potentially maybe falling below this 14.65? But then the big question here is, will it actually stay above this downside resistance line that that silver managed to break this morning and close above it this morning? So this downside resistance line has been running here from the highs of the 21st of March. So quite an interesting line. If we see this one dropping, if we see the price dropping back below this downside resistance line, this is where we will remain cautious, because for us to, let's say, start examining the downside again, ideally we'd like to see a drop below the 14.48 zone, approximately there. As you can see, it acted as a good area of resistance once here on the 29th of May, and also as a good intraday swing low of the 30th of May. So good potential target here, but again, we will consider the downside only initially if we see a strong reversal back below this downside resistance line, and ideally for the downside or further declines, we would like to see a nice good break and a close below the 14.48 zone. For now, it seems that the downside could be slightly off the table. You can see that it's trying to push back all its way above the 200 EMA. Let's see if it actually manages to do that again. If it does, then yep, like I said, we will target the 14.83 zone or even further above that, so like the 14.97 or even higher. But for now, guys, that's the game plan. Keep your eyes on some of these key levels. Let's see how that's going to play out. GBPAUD, very quick update on this one, because I talked about this one last Friday, or should I say, on last week on Friday, and basically I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this potential falling wedge formation. So today we already did have a break below this. It managed to test one of our support levels here that I talked about in the video, in my previous video. This area was around the 1.8129 zone, so it managed to test that one. But as you can see, the bulls are pushing the pair back inside this formation. So of course this is a potential good sign for the bulls, because as we know, according to textbooks, such formations tend to break to the upside. But then again, before we consider the upside, we need to see a nice good clear break above this upper side of the falling wedge formation, but in other words, ideally we would like to see a nice good close, at least of a 4-hour candle above this upper side of the veg, and then for that better confirmation of the upside, ideally a break above the 1.83 zone could be nice to see. Probably could make the bulls a little bit more happier. Yep, we will then target higher levels, at least towards the 200 EMA, and then we'll take it from there. But for now, the bulls are just trying to stay inside this formation. If they manage to do that, we may see this one maybe traveling back up here towards the upper side of this formation, and then we'll take it from there. If we do see a nice good break and a close above it, then, well, this could increase the chances for a push towards the 1.83 zone. So keep your eyes on this one. Let me just drag the arrow a little bit here. So this is basically from the very short-term perspective, so keep your eyes on this one, guys. If this decides to continue pushing lower and the bears will have the upper hand here, a drop below the 1.8129 zone, of course, could lead the pair towards the 1.8095 zone. Just to show you what that level was here in the past, that was a very good area of support here back on the 17th of April. And also, let me just drag this one a little bit low, into the history, and also it was the low of the 20th of February. So good potential support zone. In a way, you could say that if we see a drop below the 1.8129 zone, just for that better confirmation, let's say, of the downside in the near term, we would ideally like to see a nice good break here and a close below the 1.8095, and then, like I said, we will target much lower areas. For now, the bulls are trying to fight back. Let's see if they manage to keep the pair today inside this this formation. If they do, we may see this one reversing a little bit back to the upside here, testing the upper side of this falling wedge formation, and then we'll just take it from there. If we do get our break and a close above it, then that's good news for the bulls. USD Mexican, so US dollar against the Mexican peso. So basically what I was talking about, I talked about this one on Friday in my Traders Tea Time, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this potential support zone. So we managed to get a nice test here. It did, of course, initially during the day we saw this one spiking above, hitting the 19.81 zone approximately there, maybe just slightly above that, the 82 as well, and then it retraced back down. And this is what I was saying, we need to keep a close eye on this 19.62 level, because this could play out as a nice potential support zone, and for now it seems that it did. And let me just actually jump back into the daily chart on this one just to kind of show you what's happening. So it did travel higher, it retraced back down, and now it's trying to push. Oh, there's a little bit of a gap here, but yeah, let me jump back into the 4-hour chart. There we go. This is a much clearer picture here. So basically it did got held here near the 19.62 level, and now as you can see it's trying to push back up here, make its way back up towards the 19.82 zone. We're gonna keep a close eye on it, because if this gets broken, then yep, it would confirm a forthcoming higher high, and we could then aim for much higher levels. For now, it seems that it's more, well, at least it's looking more positive than negative. But let's say if this suddenly reverses sharply and drops below the 19.48 zone approximately there, which marks the high of the 29th of March, this is when we will consider a possible deeper kind of decline here, deeper correction to the downside. And the reason why I'm saying this could be a correction, because we're still above this short-term tentative upside support line taken from the lows of around the 19th of April, sorry. So we'll keep a close eye on down, but again, for now it seems to be more positive than negative. It is doing its nice rebound here from this 19.62 level. Let's see if it manages to overcome the 19.82 zone. NZDUSD, so the New Zealand dollar is the strongest today. So basically this one is having a nice push here to the upside, but I've covered this one last week, and I was basically telling you guys to keep a close eye on this barrier right here. Now, as you can see, I need to shift the arrow here a little bit, because like I said from last time, it was, yeah, we were trading around here. We were testing this barrier near the 0.6560. Today it tried to overcome it, but it kind of, as you can see, the bears managed to quickly push the pair back down. Now, of course, for now, what we're going to do here is we're going to remain very cautious. Still, we are somewhat more positive than negative, but ideally we would like to see that nice good close of the 4-hour candle above the 0.6560 level before we could examine the further upside. And by further upside, actually I mean levels like the 0.6583 zone or this 200 EMA here, shown here on the 4-hour chart. After that, if we do see a test of this 200 EMA, we'll take it from there. If it wants to travel higher, then that's even better news for the bulls. We could see this one pushing towards the 0.6630 or even further up in the short run. But for now, before we kind of get comfortable with the upside, we need to see that nice good close above the 0.6560 level. For now, we're gonna just like I said, continue observing this one. If we do get that push, then that's great. If in terms of the downside here, we're gonna take a more conservative approach here and wait until we see a drop below the May lows near the 0.6480. Only then, if we do see a break and a close below that, only then we'll consider further declines. For now, it seems to be more positive than negative, but then again, like I said, we need to see that nice confirmation break above the 0.6560. AUDUSD, very quickly on this one. So it's also traveling higher. I talked about this morning. This is just a quick update. So it did push higher, but it failed to kind of stay above the 0.6960. That said, I mean, we do have the whole US session to go through yet, so be very careful with this one. We may see a push higher, but the target for us is going to be around the 200 EMA, and then we'll take it from there. If we see a nice good close above this 200 EMA, then that's even better. We could consider further moves higher. The only thing is, guys, that also be very careful, because tonight, or overnight, or should I say the early Tuesday morning, we will have the Australian GDP figures. So maybe it's not going to be a big market driver, but still could affect the Aussie dollar pair. So and of course, also keep your eyes on the the GDP figures are on Wednesday. On Tuesday, to the early in the morning, we'll have the interest rate decision. So that's why be very cautious around there as well, guys. So on Tuesday, basically early Asian morning, we'll have the interest rate decision from the RBA. So be very careful with this one. And on Wednesday morning, we'll have the GDP figures. So from Australia, of course, and then we'll see. So basically, we may see this one flying around here a little bit. But for now, just taking it as it is, we need to see that nice good break above the 0.6960 before aiming for higher levels. And the last pair I wanted to quickly touch on, that's euro dollar. So it traveled higher this morning. It was sliding a little bit here. It managed to almost reach its pivot, but as you can see, quickly reversed back to the upside and ended up testing its 200 EMA. Still, for us, in order to consider further moves higher, we need to see that nice good confirmation break above the 1.1215 before we could aim for areas like the 1.1260 or above that. For now, it's stuck here between this key support level near the 1.1110 and the this downside resistance line. So and that's why in terms of the downside, we'll wait until we see a drop below the 1.1110 so that we could see a confirmation of a forthcoming lower low, and then we'll target much lower areas. For now, it seems to be willing to travel higher, but then again, let's see if it actually manages to overcome the 1.1215 level. Okay, guys, I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for sticking around and watching it till the end. So if you want to join me tomorrow morning, as always, on my Traders Espresso, and that's 6 o'clock GMT time. For now, I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.